Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is C-Raptor. It's time for more Scuttlebutt. This week's visual entertainment, keeping you entertained in the background while I gab into a microphone, brought to you courtesy of Tier 8 American Heavy Cruiser USS Baltimore. I have been kind of learning, becoming better acquainted with the top end of this line. That's, of course, Tier 10's USS Des Moines. Over the last month, I had a day last week. I played nearly a dozen games in Des Moines in one day, and that's something I don't normally do with one ship. But I did for Des Moines, and I'm trying to translate what I'm learning about that ship kind of down a couple of tiers to Baltimore, because, of course, Baltimore is arranged very similarly. She has basically the same set of consumables. Of course, she doesn't have the heel, which would be nice, but, it's the same turret layout, the same shell. She doesn't have the same reload. But the bottom line is there's a lot of similarities between these two ships, how they play, how they position, how they function. And I've really been enjoying Baltimore in this season of Ranked Sprint. Now, I haven't been playing her exclusively. If you've watched the stream or you've seen some of the videos around the channel, you know that. But I have really been enjoying Baltimore in this season of Ranked Sprint. I feel like the skills that I've acquired playing Des Moines have kind of enabled me to better understand that this ship, which is not a ship that I've ever really cared for, but I've recently developed a brand new appreciation for her, and I really, really have been enjoying it. So anyways, I got a couple of games here. They're not, one of them is pretty good damage-wise, but is a tragic loss. The other one is not very good damage-wise, but is a hilarious win because of how I managed to not die. So enjoy. What's going on in Shooty Boats? There's always good stuff going on in Shooty Boats. So let's get caught up. Of course, I have to start off with the weekly shout out for the NA Forum contest. NA Community Manager Hapafodder does this every week like clockwork. He goes, he puts up forum posts, he asks for screenshots or something along these lines, and at the end, everybody gets a prize for basically showing up. Usually it's some camos. Sometimes he almost always will do a drawing for winners of premium time. Sometimes he gets permission for bigger prizes. Bottom line is, guys, once a week, it's always worth your time to pop over to the NA forums, check out this contest, and participate and enter. Usually it's something if you log in once a week, you can play a game or two, usually to satisfy whatever little requirement he's ginned up, whatever little contest he's running. Dump that screenshot in and win you something just for playing the game that you're probably already going to do anyway. So no big deal. So go check that out. Link down below. While we're here talking about such things, I have to do a little bit of self-promotion. Guys, I've recently hit 4,000 followers on Twitch. That's probably a milestone I don't think I'd ever expected to hit, but as a thank you, I'm taking my my annual community contributor birthday allowance, and I'm going to give that out to you guys in the form of premium ships tomorrow night, Tuesday night, starting at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central. Over on Twitch, I have 8 premium ships to give away. I have a Roma, a Prinz Eugen, a Scharnhorst, an Abruzzi, a T-61, a Perth, and a Kotnik, and an HMS Exeter. I'm going to give away on stream, along with a bunch of other things, just to celebrate 4,000 followers. So do me a favor, come on by the Twitch stream, hang out with me for a little while, celebrate the milestone, and maybe you'll win some loot. I'm going to do anyway, so no big deal. So go check that out, link down below. Speaking of NA community, there's been an expansion in the last few weeks of the community contributors group here on NA. We've had some retirements. Sir Venom IK did retire from the program, and Venom had been around a long time, so he will be missed. But Wargaming has added quite a number of new faces. Some folks you may have heard of: Kidney Cowboy, Pop's Place, a couple others. Some folks you may not have heard of. Either way, I'm going to try and round up as many of those links as I can and put them down in the description below. Go check out all these brand new content creators. Well, they may not be brand new, but the bottom line is they're brand new to the CC program, so you might not be familiar with them. Go check them out. Maybe throw them a follow, tune into a stream or not, see if their flavor of stream suits you, and if it doesn't, hey, to each their own. But definitely spend a little time, check them out. I know they'd appreciate your support, and I would appreciate it if you would give everybody an opportunity to just impress you, I suppose, because doing what we do with the YouTube and the Twitch thing, it's a lot of work. I don't think people appreciate how much mental effort it kind of takes to maintain a regular content schedule, a regular content creation schedule. And so, in my opinion, anybody who attempts such a thing is at least worthy of support to the point of, hey, I'm going to go watch this person's content, watch their stuff, and at least see if I like it. If I don't like it, hey, to each their own, right? You're not gonna jive with everybody. That's fine. I don't expect everybody who watches what I do to be fascinated and follow me, right? I love it, but I don't expect it because everybody has different flavors. But I definitely feel like you should spend the effort to go check out what other people are doing, and if it works, great, throw them a follow and a sub. But if it doesn't, well, hey, you tried, and that's all we can ask for. Another NA topic I want to talk about, and you're going to see these videos around the channel this week. We had another player-run tournament hosted here on NA this past weekend, and I feel a little bad that I wasn't able to get this scuttlebutt done last week to try and remind everybody and entice people to come watch on Twitch, but I do have the replays of the tournament going up this week. This was a player-run event called the Warship Masters Invitational. Some of the top competitive players, organizers, whatever you want to call it, on the server, put together their own prize pool out of their own pocket, including a cash prize for the first place team, and 30 to go along with 30,000 doubloons split among second and third place. And then they invited 8 teams of their choosing to take place in what amounted to a single elimination bracket event. And then they got, I don't know, I guess it was about 4 or 5 different casting teams to come in and showcase the event. And so myself, Lord Zath, Gaishu, of course, was there doing it. He was one of the organizers and was also casting the event with Flamu, Senpai, and Citizen from the 07007 group were also participating. Anyway, we had a lot of fun. It was a really, really well done event. There was a lot of things to commend about what. First of all, it was well run to begin with. But I love the format that they chose. It was very similar to clan battles or King of the Sea, tier 10, 7v7 kind of thing. But they assigned points values to every ship. So you couldn't just spam Stalingrads, for example, right? You couldn't take that Iron Curtain strategy like we saw some teams do in the last King of the Sea because you can't afford to buy. You can't afford to take 7 or 8 Stalingrads with the way Stalingrad is costed and the way they've set the point system up, as an example. It was a really, really well-run event. It was a lot of fun to cast. It was really fun to see teams getting creative with their ship choices and having to make difficult choices when they decided, hey, I really want to bring ship X, but I can't afford it unless I downgrade this destroyer 2 points. I have to move from a Daring down to a Gearing or a Gearing down to a Yu Yang to be able to afford this better cruiser or this more expensive cruiser. Anyway, it was really fascinating. I think there are very, very few tier 10 ships we didn't see at least once, which is not something you can typically say about high-tier competitive play. So, great event. You'll see all the games on the channel this week. Enjoy those, and I'm really looking forward to them running another one of these at some point. Hopefully, we can convince Wargaming to back them from a prize perspective. And if nothing else, maybe there's a conversation to be had about bringing this kind of a point scale into other competitive events at maybe even other tiers. So that's really awesome. Kind of some sad news on the tournament organized front. If you are a fan of the Shipstorm event that was being run here started here on NA, but expanded to NA and EU, being run by Trident and Duke, who later went on to join us on the COTS admin team when I was still over there. Unfortunately, Shipstorm has ended. I want to say they ran 4 or 5 iterations of Shipstorm, but Wargaming has declined to continue supporting the event with prize support. They've said they feel like Clan Brawls kind of fill that niche, and they've kind of got a point. Clan Brawls is a very similar format, but I kind of disagree with this, and the main reason is that Shipstorm was a bit more unique in that it was a split tier, right? It was tier 7 and 8. It was not just a single tiered event. It was also not restricted to just clans. You didn't all have to be in the same clan. And to me, the biggest one is, as a caster, I could showcase Shipstorm. Shipstorm was all run in a training room. I could log in, and we could make a big deal out of it. We could make a day of it, showcasing competitive play live on stream, right? Commentary and zooming around the map as spectators and all that stuff. I can't do that with a Clan Brawl, right? I can't do that with a Clan Brawl. I can only do that with a Clan Brawl as a participant, as a player. I cannot do that as a caster. And I find that to be one of the biggest flaws in this thinking. There's nothing Wargaming's decision is what it is. Maybe we can talk them. Maybe we can talk them out of it. I don't know, but anyways, at the moment it seems as if Shipstorm will be going away, which I find to be very, very sad because it was a great style of competitive event, and I'm going to miss it. I'm encouraged. It's sad to see that one go, and I am yet still encouraged that other clans, other people, other players are continuing to try and keep the spirit of player-run events outside of King of the Sea alive, because I think we need more. I think we need more than just King of the Sea. I think we need other tiers. I think we need smaller events. One of the best things that I loved about this Warship Masters thing was it was only a day. It was only a day. King of the Sea is exhausting, right? Because it's 4 or 5 days. It's spread over 3 weekends. Whether you run it, play in it, cast it, whatever. King of the Sea is exhausting. It's a ton of work. These little one-day events that take 4 or 6 hours. You know, we ran war games once upon a time back here on North America as kind of prep to try and entice teams to try the King of the Sea format, to try and bring more teams into playing King of the Sea or anything. That worked, but those were also structured as one-day events for a reason. I wish we could see more of that. So if you are, and I'll say this just as a generic, if you're interested in running a tournament, a competitive event, something like this on NA, and you're looking for some pointers, some help, anything, reach out to me. Please reach out to me. I can't promise that I can help you run your event, but if nothing else, I can put you in contact, hopefully, with some people who can, who might be able to express might be able to, just help you get it off the ground. I've already had at least one person kind of ping me, and I got to get back to him. But if you've got other ideas for player-run competitive events on here on NA, please, please, please do not be discouraged. Reach out to myself, reach out to any of the other CCs. Let's see if we can put our heads together and come up with a way to support whatever it is you want to try. Because I'm a big believer in player-created content, especially when it comes to the competitive realm. What else is going on? They dropped a couple of dev blog posts that are worth mentioning. Some balance changes coming to the game in 9.6, which is probably only a few weeks out now. The big thing here, and this is really good, I've talked about this before, they're lowering AP bomb damage across the board on every carrier that has AP bombs. This is good. This is needed, right? You've heard me talk about this. I love playing carrier. I enjoy the new aircraft carrier system, but AP bombs have needed a rebalance pass for a while. Wargaming has finally kind of agreed with us, and basically AP bombs are being nerfed across the board by about 15% in terms of damage value. This is good. This needed to happen, and I'm glad to see this. As a weird kind of side buff along the way, Tier 8 Shokaku, that's Japanese carrier Shokaku, is getting a small amount of additional penetration on her researchable bombs, which means that and I ran these numbers earlier, I got to pull them up a moment. They went from like 230 something millimeters of penetration to like 250. What is the new value? Hang on a minute, I got to look it up. Let's tab over on my spreadsheet here. I ran the numbers. 208. So it's up to 283 millimeters. I don't know if this is going to make a huge difference in how Shokaku plays, but anyway, small buff there to go along with the nerf. More in that realm, American destroyers, from starting at Tier 5 all the way to Tier 10, Tech Tree destroyers exclusively, I gotta make this point here, are getting their defensive AA fire consumable buffed. They will now be the only ships in the game that get a 75% bonus to continuous damage while their defensive fire is active, versus the 50% that all other ships that equip this consumable get. You're going to a lot of people are going to roll their eyes and go, oh, we don't really care, AA is worthless. I mean, that's fine. Every carrier player in the game loves it when you believe that, so go right on believing that. I'm excited to try this out, especially at the top end of the line. I know how good the AA is on Fletcher and Gearing, or at least how good it can be when you spec it out correctly. As you get down into the middle tiers, it's a little more questionable simply because they lack a lot of the mid-range punch that the higher tier ships have with those 40mm Bofors. But I'm excited to see this come to the game. American Destroyers, I love the American Destroyer AA as a flavor. I love that is a thing, and I'm glad to see them continuing to push that thing. And as someone who plays the American Destroyers, especially because they have defensive fire, and because they slaughter planes so well, I'm ready to try this out, so bring it on. Small nerf to Tier 10 Italian cruiser Venezia. I assume a lot of this is coming out as a result of the last clan battles season and the popularity of this ship. They're nerfing her rudder shift time, very small nerf to her main battery reload, and a small nerf to the ricochet angle on her shells. We'll have to see if this makes a difference. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference, but they're trying a small incremental nerf to Venezia to see if they can kind of tone them down a bit. And then minor nerf to Engine Boost Modification 1. Ordinarily, this used to buff the duration of a ship's engine boost by 50%. They're knocking that down to 40%. And this is a modification that I like to take on all of my French destroyers, for example. So yeah, okay, I can see it. It's a small nerf there. Some more changes to ships that are still in testing. All the German carriers still undergoing changes. They have basically done a blanket change to the line in terms of all of their secondary batteries now will function similar to American premium battleship USS Massachusetts. So they'll have a buffed accuracy and buffed dispersion ellipse. Don't let that fool you, though. None of these ships have as many secondary guns as Graf Zeppelin, right? Tier 8 Graf Zeppelin is kind of known as this meme boat with the secondaries, and it is a lot of fun to play Graf Zeppelin as a secondary configuration. Don't get me wrong, but don't go into this believing that these German tech tree carriers are going to be anything as good as Graf Zeppelin, because they have significantly fewer guns and significantly smaller guns. Graf Zeppelin mounts up to 150 millimeter guns, 6 inches, right? You don't get that on these ships. They cap out at 105s, which is like 4 inches. So, yeah, against destroyers, these things will be nasty. Against cruisers, I don't know that I'd trust them very much. They're still messing around with AP rockets, which is good, trying to buff the ricochet angle while buffing the damage and kind of also speeding up their attack preparation time. The reports that I have seen people discussing about these rockets, basically, I think they need all the help they can get. The most of what I tend to see is that the AP rockets are not amazing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I haven't played these. Again, this is all anecdotal, right? So we'll just have to see. But I think this is probably a good change if the attack planes on the German carriers are going to be useful. I think this is necessary. So we'll see how it goes. They're already nerfing Tier 9 premium German battleship Ludendorff, which is actually being renamed to Pommern. I learned that after I posted that video. They're lengthening her gun reload and reducing her sigma. So it should be less accurate and slower to reload. Is she still going to be fun? I assume so. She looks like fun on paper. We'll try it out. Of course, premium Russian battleship Tier 10 Slava has come back to the game for super testing, and they are continuing to nerf her AP shells with some damage changes, and her reload speed has also been nerfed. And then they're still messing around with Tier 10 premium American carrier Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Still trying to find a happy place for these long attack times, super tanky planes. I mean, long pause in between attacks, I should say. With these super tanky planes. Still messing with the rockets on this one. Trying to make the rockets useful against bigger ships and less useful against destroyers. So continuing to work on tweaks in that regard. What else is going on? That's a good question. I suppose the last thing that I really want to talk about, it's worth talking about, that's newsworthy right now, is that there's a grassroots kind of player organized boycott kind of brewing in the works. Zoop talked about this in one of his videos last week. I had heard about it a few days before that and was going to mention it the next time I got around to doing one of these. But basically, there's a lot of people unhappy with how the last season of Clan Battles unfolded with the inclusion of aircraft carriers, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't one of them. And so the players right now are kind of organizing a kind of a mass protest, for lack of a better way to put it. They're a boycott of the next season of Clan Battles based on the assumption that carriers will stay in the next season. Now, this is a bit of an assumption. There has been no announcement from Wargaming when the next season of Clan Battles will occur and what shape it will take. But players, I think, are anticipating the worst, and they want to send a message, and so they're trying to organize themselves and do so. It started on NA. This initiative kind of started on NA and has since kind of grown across to incorporate EU clans as well. And I think this is probably the only way that you're really going to get, I'm not going to lie to you, it's probably the only way you're going to get Wargaming's attention. Players have been kind of railing against carriers for a while now. It's a position that I don't necessarily agree with, in the sense of, in random battles, I don't feel like carriers are all that big a deal. Yeah, they're irritating, and sometimes you lose because of them, and sometimes you barely know there's one in the game when he is there, right? Crap happens. It's a random battle. Get over it. However, when you pick up that class and those mechanics and you port them into competitive modes, organized competitive play, now the thing changes quite a bit in terms of how the carrier spots, how it works, how it's able to deliver damage anywhere on the map at will, etc., etc. All of these things mean that the class in smaller settings, and that's one of the big keys I want to emphasize here, right? 8v8, 9v9, 7v7, God forbid, carriers become a very different factor to have to deal with. And I don't feel like the balance has ever been achieved for these smaller, more competitive modes. So I feel like there's a valid argument and a valid complaint to be had in that regard. So we'll see. I mean, will it make a difference? Again, we don't know. Like, Wargaming hasn't even announced the next season yet. They may already be contemplating changes we aren't aware of. They may come back in 2 weeks and say, yeah, guys, look, we looked at the data from the last Clan Battle season, and we're not putting carriers back in next time. In which case, everybody will go, oh, well, okay, no big deal. Like, we didn't need to do this anyway. But we don't know, right? So I applaud the players trying to be a little proactive and kind of make it very clear their displeasure that this was not okay. But we also need to see what Wargaming comes back with, because they need to decide for they also have to gather their data and make their own decisions on what the next season is going to look like. And then maybe we'll decide, we'll learn if the reaction is warranted or not. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this edition of Scuttlebutt. Of course, I hope you enjoyed these Baltimore games. This second one here, where I managed to survive on 41 hit points, was particularly amusing to me. It was the only reason I got away with it, of course. There's no carrier in this game. But I managed to use some cover, managed to still rack up a little bit of damage against this Broadside Bismarck for a while. And I don't know, just the fact that I survived this game was just highly entertaining to me. So I wanted to throw it out there just because kind of a, especially in a mode like Ranked, man, never throw your ship away. And if you can preserve your ship in any way possible, just find a way to do it. Those points are valuable, and protect them and don't give them up to the enemy for free. Anyway, guys, that's about it. Be safe out there. Wash your hands, and I'll catch you next time. 4,000 follower celebration on Twitch will be happening tomorrow night. That's Tuesday night here on NA, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30. Sorry, God.